On today's session, we have one special guest with us. Miss Rushika is a Chinese language translator at Accenture company in Pune. What propelled me to invite her on this session is not just because she is a Chinese language translator, but she is also a German language translator. That means she knows two foreign languages, especially a one which is considered one of the toughest languages to learn in the world, which is Chinese Mandarin language. So there are thousands of people who wish to learn a foreign language, but they are not succeeded yet to learn even a single foreign language. What is the reason behind it? Why some people are not able to learn even a single foreign language? So Miss Rushika is going to tell you what's the main reason behind it, why some people are not able to learn even a single foreign language. Previously, she has also worked in Amazon. So in today's session, she is going to share with you a lot of valuable knowledge, like what is the process of hiring in Amazon or a company like Accenture. What are the career opportunities after learning Chinese language in India and abroad? How she got a scholarship for China and so many other valuable knowledge. So do watch the whole video if you are serious about learning a foreign language, or if you are somebody who really wants to do something in his or her career after learning a foreign language. Also do subscribe to my channel to get more updates regarding languages, career in foreign languages. So hello Rushika, I welcome you on my channel. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Okay Rushika. So Rushika, can you please tell us what are you doing currently?
Currently, I work as a Chinese language translator in Accenture. So my work entails translating all the documents in the various formats: Excel, Word, image translations, etc.
That's great. And can you please tell us like where you have worked earlier also, in which companies you have worked for earlier?
So for Chinese language, this is my first job. Earlier, I worked for German. So I can speak German. My graduation is in German. So I worked with Amazon in accounts payable for three and a half years. So, but that job was for German. Then I took a break to learn Chinese, and now I work on Chinese.
So your first job was in Amazon as a German language translator?
No, it was in accounts payable. So we handled all the queries between the vendors and the Amazon. So the communication was between in German. So we were the bridge between the two.
Okay, so you used to speak, you used to interpret from German to English or English to German, right?
So this was basically on the cases basis. So this was related to accounts payable. So whenever they would require a call, we would pitch in and have it interpreted. But many a times it was a written communication. So we were supposed to handle accounts payable related queries of the vendors.
So you started your career through like this Amazon and this like payable and all, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I think I've seen there are a lot many jobs in Amazon for language experts. Is it true? What do you think?
Yeah, there are a lot of jobs.
Right? Okay.
There are many jobs for German, Chinese, not for Chinese, I guess, for India. There are many jobs for German, Spanish, Italian, French. Many jobs.
Like mainly for European languages.
Yeah, many.
They have, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Even
and after
there are a few jobs. I'm yet to look into that.
Great. And what about like after working in Amazon? Is there any other company you have worked for?
Well, I worked on a contract basis here in SG Analytics in Pune.
Okay.
That was on a ESG module. So environment, social and governance module we worked on. Everything related to corporate social responsibility reports related. And then I interviewed for Accenture, and now since then I have been working with Accenture.
Okay, that's great. And when I saw your profile, so I got really interested. You learn two languages. One is German and second is Chinese.
Yeah.
Right. And I really wanted to know, like, how did you start your journey and which language you learned first, German or Chinese?
Okay. So I started with German. So after 10th standard, I was in the dilemma what to do and where to go, And I knew that I am not cut for science or commerce. So I decided to go for arts. And during that time, I had visited one German summer course. So I thought it's very interesting. So I decided to, take it as a subject in 11th and 12th. And in 12th, I scored around 98 in boards. So I was determined, okay, this is something I can work with. So then I did my graduation from Pune University, and then simultaneously I also completed Maximum Bhavan's or Goethe Institute's C1, and then I started working with Amazon. So that is about German, and
Ah,
then yeah.
when did you start working in Amazon? Were you doing graduation or you completed your graduation? After doing graduation, you got a job or while doing the graduation?
No, no, after doing the graduation. So I
Just
graduated in 2014, and
okay.
from 15 I took a one year break just to relax and to just hang around my parents, because then that would I was going to start a different journey altogether. So I
Right.
wanted to spend some time with my family. So in 2015 I started working with Amazon.
Okay. So after graduation, you took a 1 year break
Yes.
and then you got a job.
Yeah.
That's a lesson, for the young generation, because what they do basically, they just for the sake of doing a graduation, they do BA or BCom, these kind of courses which do not get them any kind of job,
Right.
right? I always tell them to do something substantial which will give you something after doing your graduation. Like you did a graduation, so you got a job. Then why did you learn Chinese?
So I, I don't like to sit idle. I always want to learn something. And when I was working with Amazon, I thought, okay, German is fine. So why not learn something else?
Hmm,
So I tried my hands on Korean, French, Spanish. But this happens that sometimes you just click with something.
right.
And casually, I was going through some web series and I found one web series in Chinese. And I thought, okay, this is interesting. I can work with this. And then I started learning Chinese. Yeah.
Okay, that's really good. As you said, Kirit, that you cannot sit idle and you are somebody who keeps learning,
Yes.
right? So that's great. So that's why you also started learning, different languages. And it's like you are an inspiration for other people as well, because there are a lot of people nowadays who want to learn languages, but they are not able to learn a single language. But here are you who has learned two languages, and especially the Chinese language, which is considered one of the toughest languages in the world.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Yes. Yes. It is
I want
very.
to come on. I want to come on it because like people say like Chinese is the most difficult language to learn. What do you think about that?
Well, I will not lie. It is difficult. But I also think that when you start something with this fear, is it difficult? Then you
Right.
lose that element of fun. But when you start
True.
with, okay, I'm going to learn something, then you become more fluent in it. You enjoy the process. So Chinese is difficult, definitely difficult, but I enjoy it. So it was a bit easier for me to understand it.
So you were enjoying the process of learning Chinese. That's why you were able to learn Chinese.
Exactly.
So that's the
Chinese
message you want to
script
give.
is, yeah,
That's the message you want to give to people who
yes,
are really afraid
definitely.
of learning languages.
Most of us have this fear. कि आएगा नहीं आएगा, is it difficult?
Right.
They consider it as something as of a task, that they are
Right.
performing some task, not as a learning process or
Right. True.
something. Or a lot of people nowadays, basically professional, look at language learning as a just to put it on their CV.
Right.
You are just going to look at that, then you will not actually learn the language. You will just learn
Correct.
something here and something there. Just yeah.
And how many levels are there in Chinese language?
Currently there are six HSK six until
Okay.
yeah, but they are revamping the entire levels. So there are going to be 11 levels. Yeah,
Okay.
so they have
So right
divided.
now,
Mhm.
so right now we have six levels, like HSK1, from HSK1 to HSK6.
Six, yeah.
And what is your level currently?
Well, I have done HSK 4 2 years back, and I'm eager to write HSK 5. There are no exams happening.
That's really amazing. Like you have HSK4. That's amazing. So a
Yes,
person who has HSK4 can speak Chinese fluently.
yes, you can. You can have a basic introduction or basic communication. Yeah. For business Chinese, it will take some time,
Okay.
but the key is to
Mhm.
learn more and to, practice more. Yeah.
Okay. Like there are a lot of people who still ask me like if they are learning Chinese. So what are the career opportunities for somebody who's learning Chinese? right now in India and abroad?
Okay, so I think we have now, because of the global trade and economical boom of everything, I think you can find a job anywhere. So let
Hmm.
it be in training, teaching, interpretation, or some company, anywhere you can find a job.
Hmm.
Yeah, even in the government, there was recently a posting for a territorial army officer.
Okay.
Yeah, recently, I think 2, 3 months back, where they wanted some female and male candidates to interpret the documents. Documents or translation or interpretation.
So
Yeah.
there are many, sectors up where a Chinese language expert or even any foreign language expert can work. As I
Ye-
always say in my videos, you can work in
Yes.
corporate, you can work in education sector, you
Yeah.
can work in uh, government agencies like embassies or the
Yes.
departments of embassies, or even you can become a freelancer.
Yes. Yes. Definitely. So even in the banking sector, travel and
Hmm.
tourism, there are many
Right.
opportunities.
There are many opportunities if you know a foreign language. That's great.
Yes.
Okay. And there are a lot of people who are afraid of learning Chinese. So they ask me still after the pandemic, because China has lost his, image a
Mhm.
lot. So there are a lot of people who ask me, okay, is Chinese language is still, worth learning?
I have only one answer, one sentence answer to this is because of the bilateral relationship between India and China. I think this sums up that you are going to have a lot of opportunities. So yeah,
Right.
although there was a little setback on Chinese
Hmm.
culture, language, everything related to China, but I think that is the future. You can go ahead and learn it. I don't think there is going to be ever short of any opportunities in the field of Chinese.
The same thing I told to those people, because it doesn't matter whatever has happened in the history. If you see the bilateral ties with between
Yeah,
India and China, so it is still growing.
definitely.
Okay. So earlier we also had a war with China, but still what happened? Nothing happened.
Yeah.
Right. So still the opportunities are still there for Chinese language experts, and it will be there in future as well. Right.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And
Okay.
Chinese on your CV is also a very strong suit because
Right.
people consider, I mean, it is true that Chinese is a difficult language. So when somebody sees it, when an employer sees it on my resume, I come out as a person who
Hmm.
who is ready for challenges, because learning Chinese is it's a challenge.
It's a challenge. True.
Yeah. So you come out as a a person who is ready
Strong person. Hmm.
to take a strong person who is ready to take challenges, who
Take
has
challenges.
done something which everybody considers very difficult.
Very difficult. True.
Yeah. So that is also a big advantage of learning Chinese. Yeah.
Okay. And people even ask me like how much salary package a Chinese language expert can earn in a multinational company.
Well, it starts from around 5 and it can go up to 12. So it also depends on your fluency, your
Right.
level of the proficiency that you have achieved. Yeah.
And
So
it also
it
depends in which company you are working,
mm-hmm.
in which city. There are so many factors involved, like your experience, in
Right.
which company you are working for, in which city you are in right now. But
Yeah.
yeah, average salary, if we can say, a person can earn from 5 lakh. A person can start his or her journey from 5 lakh per annum till even like 12 lakh per
Yeah.
annum,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So it depends on proficiency, demographic factors, everything, the requirements of the company. Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this can also happen that, there are people who have visited China and their
Mm-hmm.
Chinese spoken fluency is a lot, but their
Mm-hmm.
written is not that good.
Okay.
So what I feel is it is very difficult to draw a line between language. This part comes
Mm-hmm.
under A1, this part is C1. So only the difficulty of that increases, the intensity of grammatical pattern, etc. increases. So I've seen few people who are very good at spoken Chinese, but their written is not good.
Mm.
So that also
Okay.
matters. Yeah.
Nice.
So while
You
learning, you
you
have to. Yeah.
you
Sorry.
talked about China, so I know that you also visited China, or you also got a scholarship from the Chinese
Yeah.
government, right?
Yeah.
So can
Yeah.
you please tell us like how you got a scholarship?
So when during my study break of 1 year, I came across this newsletter that there is going to be one scholarship. I applied to it, There was no interview or such. It was their first year of conducting this scholarship. So I applied to it and I got selected after a month. So everything was taken care by them. We only had to bear flights and visa.
Okay.
And so we were picked up at Xi'an. So I went to a Xi'an city named Xi'an, which is in Shaanxi province. So from the hotel, food, visiting, everything was covered. So it was a very beautiful experience. I want
And
to go
how long you stayed there?
10 days.
For 10 days.
10 days, yeah.
Okay, that's really nice. So you got a scholarship from the Chinese government. And how was your experience, visiting China? How did you find China?
Well, I found it very interesting. But the thing is that I only went there for 10 days. If I would have stayed for more time, gotten acquainted with everybody, like on the very general basis, it would have been the experience would have been a little deeper. But right now, we just visited places which were on the timetable. So we saw the cultural things, but whatever I experienced was really beautiful because China has a very deep, mysterious, colorful, and vibrant culture. So I got a glimpse of it, definitely.
Did you meet Chinese people? Did you
Yeah.
interact with Chinese people?
Yeah, so we were tied up with some volunteers of the same university. So each one of us was given a volunteer to interact with. Yeah. So even for them, it was a different experience because they were interacting with the foreigners and we were interacting with Chinese students.
Great.
Yeah.
Did you learn anything from China or Chinese people during your journey?
Well, I cannot recall right now. I think they're very welcoming of Indian people that I found, and because everywhere we would wait at the signal, they used to take our pictures and they used to come up and talk to you. So that was a good, I was feeling like a celebrity there.
Really?
I took many pictures with strangers.
Okay. And are Chinese people able to speak in English?
Yeah, sometimes they can. But I mostly try to interact in Chinese. And they were very welcoming and they were very excited when I, speak a little bit in Chinese. That time my proficiency was not that much. Little here and there I used to speak. So they were very, excited and very happy that I could speak. Yeah.
Okay, that's very nice. Okay, I always, I made one video a long time back and I just, I mentioned in that video that if you know 2 foreign languages, so it is going to give you a lot of benefits in your career.
Yeah.
So suppose if you know 1 Asian language and if you know 1 European language, so it's a very clear combination, right? So what do you say on this? Like you already know 1 Asian language and you also know 1 European language. So do you think it can give you a lot of advantage? It can give someone huge advantage in his or her career?
Yeah, definitely. Because currently what we do is when you learn only one foreign language, you are translating from that particular foreign language to English. So English is a medium right now. It's a common thing. But if you are proficient enough in both these languages, then you can guess, what opportunities you can knock up. So for example, if I scale up myself more and become fluent in Chinese, then after a few years, I can also translate from German to Chinese. And that will be something very amazing that I would like to try on some point of life. Yeah.
That's really nice. Okay, Rushika, how one can get a job in Accenture company as a language expert?
So there are several ways you can apply. One is through the college campus interviews that can happen, or through referrals, or simply you can just go to the Accenture site and find a job there and apply. Yeah.
Okay. And how many like interview rounds are there and what questions are generally asked in the interview?
So basically it is for the translation capability. So the first round is of HR, obviously, and then they send you one document. You have to translate that. Okay. So that is on the video call. Okay. So you have to just on the spot translate that, send it back, and based on your proficiency and the accuracy of the documents, then you are judged. Then if you clear them, then there will be one more spoken related round because Accenture also supports interpretation. So whenever if it is required, and you can also asked to interpret. Yeah.
That is the second round.
That is the second round, yes.
And once you clear like 2-3 rounds, then you get selected.
Yeah.
Okay. And what is the process of Amazon?
Well, Amazon has a longer process. When I applied for Amazon, I went through 7 to 8 rounds.
7 to 8 rounds.
Yes.
That's for German. That's for German, not even for Chinese.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So first round was telephonic. Then that time also I was in Pune. Then I was flown to Hyderabad because I worked in Amazon Hyderabad there. And then I went through around 4 or 5 rounds. Yeah. So 2 written, then 2 with the managers, with the higher managers. So it just goes on. The entire day is booked. So yeah.
What are the common questions asked during the interviews?
Well, they just want to see what is your approach towards this job. How do you want to, whether you will be consistent enough to take up new challenges, and what is your approach towards the language or the culture, or you're here to earn. That is also the one factor that everybody sees, that because they don't want to hire qualified candidates for their profile. So even for the long run, they see everything from all the sides you are then just.
If we just talk about the assessment of a language, suppose if there is a German language expert or a Chinese language expert sitting over there to take your interview, so how do they assess you? Like if they assess your speaking skills, so what general questions they ask you?
So first of all, it starts with a basic introduction. Then whatever questions that we would ask in English, they are only translated in German or Chinese. That is, we have some set of questions that are regularly asked. What are your plus points, minus points? What are your plans, etc.? The same questions are asked. And if required, they ask you about the particular country's culture, if required.
Okay.
Because I think in 2-3 questions, they know what is your entire perception and what is how much fluent are you in that particular language. It is, yeah.
So they start with the introduction, and they can also ask you like, what are your strengths and weaknesses, and what are your future plans? The same thing which usually happens in the normal interviews, right?
Yes, same thing.
But the only difference is they communicate with you in your language, actually in Chinese or in German, for whatever you are applying for. Actually, there is one more common question which people usually ask, like how much time it takes to speak a particular language fluently. What do you think about that? We talk about Chinese language. How much time it takes to become fluent in Chinese language?
I think you have to give it around 1.5 years if you're doing actually.
Minimum.
Yeah, minimum. Yeah. My language journey started a little differently. Well, I did 2 levels with an institute here in Pune. Later on, I learned everything on my own. So from HSK 2 to 5, I have started doing on my own. Okay. But what I usually do is I surround myself entirely with everything that is related to that language. So whenever even I'm doing chores, I play something in Chinese. So, the ears are getting trained that way. So you have to submerge yourself completely in that, and then that will reap the benefits.
And you said like at least you have to reach till intermediate level in order to become fluent in any language, whether it's Chinese or any European language, right? And I think consistency is also a key to become fluent in any language.
Yeah.
Okay, Rushika, thank you so much once again for sharing your invaluable knowledge with all our viewers. Thank you so much for being with us today once again. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me.